Hello and welcome, friends. Welcome to the first episode of my YouTube channel, Commentary with Umesh. And today we'll be discussing the historic win of Dutch team and currently ongoing ODI World Cup in India with two of the cricketing greats. And let me introduce two of these. Like first, I have with me the former Indian head coach and the World Cup winning head coach, Gary Kirsten. Welcome to the show, Gary. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good, thank you.
And second guest of my this show is former Netherlands skipper and currently the chairman of selectors, Jeroen Smits. So Jeroen, welcome. Good to see you on the screen after one year. Like we are
Good
in
to
touch
see
with 1 year, but like I'm seeing you today only. So how are you feeling?
you. Yeah, that's right. Great to see you. You look much younger than I thought.
Okay. No, I'm actually younger. Actually, you must have thought. You must have imagined my age from my articles of the language or the text I used to be. So that's not real. I'm only 29 or 30 around. I'm young only. And we have the youngest one in the house, Gary Kirsten, who is more young than us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A long way from that.
So, yeah. So let me start with Jeroen Smits first, and I'll come to Gary after. Jeroen, my first question to you is that what is your take on the historic win of Netherlands team against South Africa? How do you look at it?
Of course, it's fantastic for Dutch cricket and something we hopefully can build on for the rest of the tournament. But yeah, it was a fantastic day. They did all the basics right. They played a fantastic game plan, or they had a fantastic game plan. And I think it was a historic day after another historic day, I think now a year ago in Australia, where we also beat South Africa. But hopefully there are many more to come.
Yeah, so there's one question for Gary from one of my friends, Manas Pratim Sharma. Manas wants to ask Gary, like, what was your first conversation with MS Dhoni after winning the World Cup 2011? What was your first conversation with MS Dhoni?
What was my first conversation? That was what is that, 11 years ago, 12 years ago? I don't remember, to be honest with you. It was yeah, we went back a long time. So I'm actually not sure what that conversation was.
Do you remember like any players? Like, what was the environment in the change room? Like, not on the same day. What was the environment within the among the boys after winning the World Cup? Like, you were in touch with the team before Duncan Fletcher joined them in June or July, I think. You were in the touch with the boys. So, what were your conversation afterwards? Like with the boys, especially the captain. Like, what was the first thoughts?
No, I think like any team that's had success, we had walked a journey for 3 years together, and that was my last day with the team was that World Cup. So my contract was up, and I was moving on. But I think for us to have walked that 3-year journey together was an amazing privilege for me, and that's what kind of sits in my mind more than anything. So. Apart from the friendships that I've created with some of those Indian players, which are still ongoing, we don't talk about cricket that much. We talk about all sorts of other things, which is great. So we all love cricket, but we sometimes reflect on the time we had over those 3 years.
Okay, my next question is to you. Like, it is asked by Shubham, one of my guys. Shubham wants to ask you, like, how much do you think, like, the contribution of Scott Edwards in revolutionizing the Dutch cricket? The contribution of Scott Edwards, especially as an individual, as a skipper or whatever, in whatever capacities.
Talking fast, Umesh. Huh?
Okay, let me be. Okay, I'm sorry for that. How much is the contribution of Scotty in revolutionizing the Dutch cricket? How much Scotty has contributed?
Yeah, Scott, I think because the line is not great. I don't know if you heard the question, Gary, but I think it is about Scott Edwards.
Yeah,
it is about like let me repeat it again. Like how much is the contribution of Scott Edwards in revolutionizing the Dutch cricket?
Yeah, absolutely great. I think his contribution to Dutch cricket he's one of the most important players at the moment, not only as a captain. But as a player, he's so vital for the Dutch team, and he's doing everything right in this tournament. His captaincy is probably top standard. And his betting against South Africa, that was up to standard again. But we know, he's one of the better players of the Dutch team. But we are building a team environment, so it's not only about Scott; it's about the whole team. And I think that's what you saw on Tuesday. We're playing total cricket, as Ryan Cook said. So Johan Cruyff, we played total soccer here in the Netherlands. And now he introduced total cricket, and that's what you can see. It's the whole team is playing their part. And on Tuesday it was Scott, but of course, as a captain, you play a very, very important role, and that's what he has done throughout this tournament. But we have seen that in various other games as well. So it's not a surprise for us. But Scott is vital for the Dutch team, as every captain is. What are
But
you
there is one more
drinking,
addition.
Umesh?
There is it's tea only. It's tea only.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's tea only. Okay, let me add one supply to this question. Like, being in a close touch with the administrative structure of Dutch cricket, like you have been in a close touch with the administrative structure of Dutch cricket. So how much do you feel the changes after the arrival of Cooksey as a head coach? Do you feel any changes in the structure or in the working of the team? Like the performance of the boys, like the mindset of the boys. Do you feel any change?
What, for the rest of the tournament, you mean?
No, not rest of the tournament. Like I'm asking, what the role of Cooksey? How much important role Cooksey have played in changing the mindset of the boys, or do you feel any change
Yeah,
after Cooksey is there?
since Ryan Cook's arrival, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah. No, but obviously, the whole setup is more professional since he arrived. Nothing. I can't say anything bad about the coach beforehand, but if you see this staff, that is, I think that they belong to the top coaches in the world. So we must be very, very happy that they are with the Dutch team and in the Dutch setup. And of course, he's playing his role. And I know his goals for this tournament. That's the semi-final spot. So we are not only there just to play our games in the World Cup, but we really want to compete, and that's something he brought into this team. With him, with Ryan Cook, it's also the complete support staff with Ryan van Niekerk, Heino Koen, and who is a Chamberger at the moment. So they are very professional. We had also very professional staff in Australia, so don't forget that. But I think Ryan Cook is the leader of our staff, and very, very important one.
Okay, let's come back to Gary once again. Like, Gary, there's a question from Vibhaka. Like, Vibhaka wants to ask you that India used rotation policy in the late 2000s and early 2010s, like those decades especially. So, can you take us through the conversations with MS Dhoni as a captain, like having someone like Rahul Dravid not playing in ODIs most of the times? Can you take us through those conversations?
He spoke about the rotation policy. Is that correct?
Yeah. I talk about rotation policy, and that afterwards, like, can you take us through the conversations with MSD, who was the captain at the moment, like not having a player like Rahul Dravid not playing most of the time, not playing his ODIs.
Well, I think Rahul at that point was towards the end of his career, and he was playing largely Test cricket, and he wasn't playing in the ODI team pretty much through the time, that I was with the team. But I think there was a kind of a lot of other players, especially younger players that were coming through and performing really well. And then I think the rotation policy was more just around using left-hand, right-hand combinations at crucial times in games, where we felt that a left-hand, right-hand combination could be of greater value. So we were prepared to shift 3, 4, and 5, and 6 around the batting order based on the situation. I think a lot of teams are doing it now. So it's not, the players of today, they don't get nervous about being told at the last minute that they're going to be batting at 3, 4, 5, or 6 anymore. They're happy with that. So we were comfortable that we could kind of shift the batting order around a little bit.
Well, Gary, there is one more question around the formats of cricket. I have a question from Ashwin. Like Ashwin, want to ask you that do you think the emphasis of growing T20 cricket there is somehow impact on the ODI cricket, and we are also seeing that impact on the current structure of ODI cricket, the way we are witnessing the ongoing ODI World Cup. So, do you feel it is the last ODI World Cup of this kind of significance or some significance?
Yeah, I mean, it's a $1 million question for us all cricket lovers. You know, where's the ODI game going to go? I mean, T20 cricket's here to stay, and we know how entertaining it is. It is an entertainment product, so it does put pressure on the 50-over game. And I think the 50-over game needs the World Cups, you know, because I think the World Cups start to generate their interest. But I do worry about the bilateral series, you know, where one team's playing against another in 5 ODIs. You know, I do worry about those because I think there's less interest than there has been in the past. And also Test cricket, you know, Test cricket really, there's a lot of countries now that can't survive on a Test schedule anymore. Their game can't survive. So, you know, they have to look at other ways of generating income in the country. South Africa is a classic case in point. We play 4 Test matches this year, you know, and it's because, you know, a T20 competition brings in more revenue. So I think the 50-over game is under threat. But I think the 50-over game is really important for pathway cricket because a lot of young junior cricketers now don't necessarily want to aspire to be a red ball cricketer. But they can certainly learn their skills in the 50-over game. So I think 50-over cricket through the pathway system is really important.
Okay, there is this question is from both of you. Like, I want the answers of this question from both of you. Like, the associate nations like Netherlands, Scotland, Ireland, like these like associate nations, or we call minnow teams or lower ranked teams. So, do you both of you think what are your takes on this? Like, these kinds of associate teams fail to come to the mainstream because the bigger countries or bigger teams avoid to play the regular cricket with them. Do you think it is somewhere behind this? You can answer one by one. I would like to start with Gary first, and then Smits.
My opinion is, you know, we need to start realizing that these associate countries are actually professionalizing the game in their countries as best they can with the limited resources they have. And Netherlands is a classic case in point. You know, they've got limited resources. They only have 3 fully contracted players on their system, yet they can beat Test playing nations. And they're ranked 14 in the world, you know. So, you know, there's an example that when you do offer them more resources, they can become as good as the international teams. And I have absolutely no doubt that the Netherlands is a case in point. That you give them a few more resources, and they're already doing amazing things, but they'll do even more. So, and that's ultimately what you want for the game. So, I'm a big fan of looking at the highest ranked associate teams and really helping them and supporting them professionalize the game in their country.
What do you think? What do you think on this same question?
Yeah, no, I can't disagree, of course. And of course, we're playing an important role in this tournament now. But Scotland has got a really good setup. Ireland, the same. Nepal is upcoming. So we have a few very good associate nations coming up. So I think it's all about opportunities and creating opportunities for those countries. So we need the help of the Indian community or the Indian cricket board, maybe even better, to give us some games and to develop our game, and then it will be better for cricket in general. You have to start somewhere, and you don't beat South Africa from day 1 to day 2. So there's a lot of hard work to be done, and we are there and give the associates a platform where they can compete. So I think we all agree, Gary, myself, and hopefully yourself as well.
Yeah, sure. We all as the servants of cricket in either capacities are supposed to work on this closely. Like you're right. So Gary, the next question is to you, and it is like, what is the learning or to you want to give the current South African team from your like glorious instinct, we can say, the Indian team. From that instinct, what are the learning or two you want to give to the South African current team?
Well, I don't want to give them any learning. I just want to, support them. I think they've got a great team in this World Cup, and they've got some experienced players. And I think if they click as a team, they've got a good chance of making the semi-finals. They're not in a bad position. They've only lost one game against the Netherlands, which wasn't a bad thing because it was great seeing the Netherlands win. But I still think that they've got a real chance of getting into the semis, and they've got a good side here. Their bowlers need to click, and if their bowlers click with the strong batting lineup that they've got, I think they've got a real chance in this competition. So, I wish them well, because they always come under pressure at World Cups. It's always tough for them. Be nice for them to get across the line, or certainly get close to winning a World Cup.
Actually, Smits, there is an interesting fact that when Zimbabwe upset the South Africa, Gary was part of that team, actually. Gary was part of that team as well, actually, in the 99 when Zimbabwe did something to South Africa. Gary was also a part of that team.
Yes.
So
In
do you
99.
feel there? So yeah, can you reflect on the Gary being a part of a team as a player, and right now you were not the part of team in either capacity? Like, so can you reflect that feeling, that typical South African feeling in these kind of matches as a player?
Yeah, I think sometimes there's a lot of media around them underperforming in World Cups, and I don't think it's easy for the players. I think it's really tough, and I think a lot of sports teams around the world have gone through it, and they just need to work out a way that they can get over it. But it's not, you don't look at the individuals, you look at more the way the team has to deal with it, and I think that's always the issue. But individually. They're some of the best players in the world. It's just when they play for South Africa in the World Cups, they seem to not be at their best. But I think this team has got a real chance to showcase their skills. There's a lot of players in really good form at the moment.
Okay, the next question is similarly from both of you, like Jeroen and Gary, from both of. Yeah, the next question.
The last question.
Yeah, sorry.
Was
Next
it the last
question,
question?
Next question. We'll be summing it up in next 7 minutes. We'll be summing it up in next 7 minutes. Official recording will be ended in 7 minutes. Official recording will be ended in next 7 minutes. So it's 23 now. It's 24 now in 2024 in my Indian time. So it will be next 6 or 7 minutes it will take. So next question is from both of you. Like, what is your take on Mickey's statement after India-Pakistan match? Like the statement, you both must have been aware about that. Like what Mickey said after in the post-match press conference. Like it seemed like a BCCI stage event, not an ICC event. I didn't hear the Dil Pakistan from DJ or whatever the statement was. So, as an expert, as a cricket expert, or being a part of cricket as a player in the times as well. So, what do you both of you think on this statement from Mickey? Was it right, or was it somewhere like he could have said something else other than this? How do you think? Let's start with Zarwan first, then Gary.
What was the statement?
Like, oh my God. Yeah, man, Yaron is trying to be politically correct, actually. Yeah. Yaron is trying to be politically correct, actually. So I can understand that. Actually, Mickey Arthur said, like, it seemed like a BCCI staged event, not an ICC event. I didn't hear the Pakistan from DJ in stadium. So what is your take on this? I have repeated the statement to you. Now you can tell me.
I give Gary the go. Gary, it's all yours.
I've got no comment. I've got no comment on that statement.
Okay, so let's no comment specifically on that. So let's ask it in a generic manner. So do you think being in a capacity with any team like a coach, captain, or cricketer, do you think that cricketers or someone should have to go like their political ideologies or something to stay showcase on that platform? Do you think it is right? We can have comment on that. Actually, not. Do you think it should be showcased on the? Do you think our religious beliefs or political beliefs should be showcased on the global platform like cricket world? I'm just like simple comment or simple view of you.
I think you get many sportsmen who share their beliefs because they use their profile as a vehicle for potential change in the world that they live in. And everyone does it in a different way, and they do, I've watched Novak Djokovic do it on a number of occasions through tennis and through his profile through tennis. So, that's up to the individual, how he wants to operate and whether he wants to use that platform to further either his political or religious beliefs.
Hey, what do you think, Jeroen, on this?
Nothing to add here. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry
fine, fine.
about that.
We'll go ahead. So, yeah, Gary, what is your performance? Like, what are your top four? What is your prediction for top four teams in the semifinals?
My prediction for the top four teams, it's difficult to say. I mean, India are playing really well at the moment. New Zealand have got 4 from 4. And then, and then the rest, and I think there's a lot of teams that could still be involved in it. It's early days. So we can't really understand it now. I think the form teams of New Zealand and India, without a doubt. Today's game and tomorrow's game are really important for, obviously, Australia-Pakistan today. I see Pakistan are doing pretty well in chasing that score down. I don't know what the score is now. But tomorrow's game, South Africa-England, is a really important game for England, because if they don't win that game, then they're under massive pressure in this tournament to go through to the playoffs. So I think there's still quite a few teams that could go through, but it certainly looks like India and New Zealand are both 4 from 4, and the form teams, it's unlikely they're not going to make the semis.
And what you think, Jeroen? What are your 4 teams?
Yeah, for me, India, Australia, New Zealand, and of course Netherlands.
There he goes.
Yeah,
Good. So,
yeah.
I would love to see.
So we
me
just
and
slip
Gary.
in. We slip in as number 4, just
Okay,
at the
okay.
very, very last moment.
Okay, me and Gary would be the happiest person to, after if this happens, and we would be the happiest persons to know that when Netherlands qualify,
Yeah.
and we would be happy.
I
Okay,
would
Gary,
be very, very happy.
Yeah.
I will be a
So,
millionaire if they do qualify, because I put money on it. So if they do qualify, the quote was 1 against 999.
Jeroen, you have to promise me one thing here. You have to promise me one thing here. If Netherlands qualify for the semi-finals, you have to arrange me a exclusive interview with the coach and captain at that moment. If Netherlands qualify for the semi-final, you have to promise me one thing here.
Yeah, I will promise that to you. No worries.
Okay. So I will personally pray for Netherlands after now. So, okay, Gary, like, what is your take on India's performance? Like, you have been the head coach of those guys, like this team, and you have seen a lot of youngsters. So Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma were growing in your era. They came and they debuted under your stint. So how do you rate India's performance in the current ODI World Cup?
Well, I mean, it doesn't require me to give the answer. They're doing really well, 4 from 4. I think for me, the thing that stands out is that their team is so well balanced. They've got form batters playing really well at the moment. And they've got 3 fantastic spinners. Kuldeep Yadav, I think, has been a massive add-on to the team. He's bowling the best I've seen him bowl for a long time. Jadeja just does what Jadeja does. And then Ashwin as well, is a real factor. And they've got great seamers as well. So Jasprit Bumrah is probably bowling the best he's bowled for a long time. I mean, I would say his form in this World Cup has been exceptional. So they look like a team that's going to be difficult to beat, especially on Indian conditions. So, but cricket's a funny game, and somewhere along the line, a team is going to falter, and cracks do appear. Before South Africa played the Netherlands, we were saying the South Africa team looks as good as it gets, and then they get blown away by the Netherlands. And now you start to say, well, there also cracks in that team, So you never know. But India's certainly looking good at the moment.
Well, what is your take on India's performance by now? What is your take? How India is performing till now? How do you think? How do you rate that? You can unmute yourself once. You can unmute.
Yeah. I'm on mute.
Yeah, please.
They-
Please
they-
go ahead.
Yeah, they're playing out of their skin. I think they're the best team at the moment. But they have to do that, because in the last game of the tournament, they play against the Netherlands. So they have to make sure they qualify now. Otherwise, they're in trouble. And we all know that. So,
Well done.
I
but
love
I
this.
like to
I
see-
love this. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Gary, we will have a
That's
some question
my
with
last quote.
Yeah, we'll have some question with Gary. We'll have last question with Gary. Gary, if you could go in the time machine, or you could go to the time back, would you take Rohit Sharma in the ODI World Cup 2011 squad? Which is the most debatable question currently nowadays. Like, why he was not in the 2011 squad? If you could go back in the time, will you try to take Rohit Sharma in the World Cup 2011 squad?
Well, it was between Rohit Sharma and Yuvraj Singh, and Yuvraj Singh got man of the tournament. So I think it was a good decision.
Hey, you have answered it with a fact. Oh my God, you answered it with a fact. Okay, got it. You have answered it with a fact.
No, listen. It's the problem with selecting 15 in a World Cup squad is there are lots of players that are good enough to playing that you can't pick, and especially in India because there's so many good players. So it's a difficult one.
What is your current take on Rohit Sharma's current performance? What is your take on Rohit Sharma, how performing currently?
What do you think?
I think it's brilliant. I think he's brilliant so far. He's been brilliant.
I think it's brilliant too.
Yeah, thank you. You echoed my opinion actually. Okay, so thank you so much, both of you. And so, guys, we had with us Gary Kirsten, the former Indian World Cup winning head coach, and Jeroen Smits, former Dutch captain. And so it was the first episode, and for the later episodes, subscribe, like, share in my new channel. It was first episode of my channel, and two of the former cricketing greats. And I hope we will have some other in the future in the other